Today I'm going to tell you about the time I almost got murdered on Friday the 13th. Dun dun dun! Alright, so I was with my friend, let's call him Christopher. So what happened is, Friday the 13th are my luckiest days because 13 is my lucky number. I was born on Friday the 13th, the hospital I was born in was on 13 Mile, I was born in room 13 at 713. So you would think that I would be like this cursed, really crazy person, but I'm not. Because when I was 13, I won $500 on Radio Disney. So it was Friday the 13th, and we were going to have a night out on the town. We were going to see Elf the Musical with student rush tickets. Now, how student rush tickets work is you just go to the theater 2 hours before the show starts, and you say you're a student, you show them your ID, and you get a random seat selected to you. So you can either get like really good seats or really bad seats. So I was telling Christopher, and I was like, we're gonna get good seats. You know why? And he was like, why? And I was like, because it's Friday the 13th, and that is my lucky day. So I told him the whole thing of why I'm lucky. So we get to the theater, and then we get our tickets, and we have orchestra front row seats, and we are like, oh my gosh, the original prices were like $180 or something, and we got them for 25 bucks, and we're like, our night is off to an awesome start. And so since we have 2 hours, we're like, all right, we've got time to kill. So we go out to hang out, and we are in Detroit, which has really nice areas, but it also has areas that aren't the nicest. It's a city, and like most cities, they have good areas and kind of bad areas. So we're walking, and we want to go on what's called the People Mover, which is kind of like an above ground subway. It's pretty cool. So we get in it, and then we go and we have coffee in the downtown area. There's like ice skaters, and it's really cute. We're just hanging out. It's adorable. It's like the perfect winter's night. It's crisp in the air. We've got our hot chocolate. It was super fun. So then we were like, oh, okay, we got lost track of time. Let's head back. So then we go to walk back. He's like, it's dark now, and this way is really not the best way to walk back to the theater, and I don't know any other way to get back. We need to get back on the People Mover. And I'm like, we have to get back on the People Mover. The People Mover works in a circle. We were here, we took the People Mover here, we'd have to ride every stop to get back until we get back to the theater. And I was like, it's a walk backwards, but we decided it would be unsafe to walk, so we got back on the People Mover, and it's really crowded because it's like a Friday night. We're super excited to see the show, but we're starting to freak out that we're not gonna make it back in time because we have 20 minutes to get back to the theater. So we're on the bus and we're freaking out because we have no idea how many stops there are or how long it's going to take for each stop. So I'm sitting there and we're freaking out, we're looking at each other, people are getting on, people are getting off, and we're just freaking out. And then the woman next to me, she's the cutest old woman I've ever met. She just like looks at us and goes, are you guys trying to get somewhere? And we're like, yeah, we're trying to get back to the opera house and we don't know how long this route's gonna take us. And she's like, don't worry, you'll get there in time, it doesn't take that long. And we're like, oh, it's our own fairy godmother. She's like here to tell us and save the day. So she's like, there's a map right there, we're right here, you have some more stops to go and you'll be great. I'm like, okay, perfect. So I'm looking at the stops and I'm counting them, and I realize we have 13 more stops until we get back to the theater. And I'm like, Christopher, we're gonna make it on time. Count how many stops we have left. So he counts them and he's just like, whoa, mic drop, that's amazing, 13 stops, we're gonna be amazing. So we're so excited. The woman next to us is super excited, and we start chatting with her, and we start talking about Disneyland for some reason, but she talks about how much she loves Disneyland, and we're like, oh my gosh, she is a fairy godmother. So we're there, and more people are getting off the bus, and another stop, more people get off the bus, and at the next stop, our fairy godmother gets off the bus, and suddenly, Christopher and I are the only people on the People Mover, and we still have 2 more stops until we get to ours. And we're like, okay, hopefully no one else comes on until we get there, because we are really freaked out that we are the only ones on this by ourselves. So we're going and we get to the stop and we're waiting. We're like, okay, the doors just need to shut. We have 1 more stop to get there and then we are good. The doors just need to shut without anyone coming on. We're like, come on, come on, come on. The doors are shutting, and then this guy just like slowly like saunters on, and we're like, oh boy. And there is something really off about this guy. You know, I can just tell right away when someone is creepy. You could tell this person was really creepy. He was kind of disheveled, but not like wearing like dirty clothes. Like he had nice clothes on, but they were just like disheveled, as if like, you know, he hadn't washed them for like a week or so. But like they still looked okay, but it was weird. And he was holding a brown paper bag that most definitely did not have chocolate milk in it. So he sits down right across from us, and we're like, okay. And so we're like, it's fine, like we just won't talk with him, like we'll just kind of like, you know, we'll get there, we give a polite nod, like, oh hi, and he's like, know. And then Christopher and I, you know, just kind of like scoot a little bit closer together. We're like, okay, we're almost there. Like, these stops are like 2 minutes in between. And the guy just looks up from us and goes, you know, there used to be cameras on the people movers. And then we're kind of like, what? Like, he hasn't said anything, and that's the first thing he says. And then he like looks around the bus and goes, they don't have cameras anymore. And my heart drops to the floor. And I feel Christopher next to me just like stiffens up as a board. And we're like, we're gonna die. He's gonna murder us on this bus. We are going to die. We are not going to see Elf the Musical. We're just gonna die here on the People Mover. And we're just kind of like, that's an interesting fact. And he just goes, yeah, they used to monitor them 24/7. But now you could do whatever you want and they'd never know. And I've honestly never been more terrified in my whole entire life. I'm like, what is he implying? Is he implying that he wants to murder us because they are no longer watching on the cameras anymore? And like, I'm basically sitting on top of Christopher. I am so scared. We're like holding hands, just like, trying not to look like we are as terrified as we are. And we're just like, oh, that's an interesting fact. And we're just like shaking so much. And he just looks at us and he's not stopping looking at us. And we're just like, we're gonna die. And then he just goes, yeah, you couldn't eat or drink, but now you can do what you want. And then tips his chocolate milk up at us, takes a swig of it, and then we reach our stop. And Christopher and I just book it off of the door. So we don't pretend to be polite. We don't pretend to say goodbye. We are off of that thing and we run down the stairs to get out of the station, and we run all the way back to the theater before we finally breathe and realize we are still alive. We're like, did that just happen? Like, I could not even, I was so scared. Like, everything was on, like, my senses were just crazy, and I was like shaking so much. And we finally got back to the theater and I was like, I almost died. I was like, 13, you have done me well, but you know, I've got to go someday. And I was so glad that nothing happened, because as the guy pointed out, there would be no cameras to document it. So we make it back to the theater. We have a wonderful night of seeing Elf the Musical. It was super fun. We had dinner afterwards. We had a wonderful time. And no one died on Friday the 13th. Alright, you guys, like this video if you enjoy me dramatically retelling the life stories of my life. And leave a comment down below if you've ever had an experience where you were sure you were going to die. Alright, subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!